right, Coach. It's kind of good to review the Eastern Illinois game and then lead into now, this is when it really counts coming up. Nick will start the conference play.
Yeah, didn't get the result we wanted. There were some good things that we worked hard on last week, and if y'all remember, I made a lot of comments about us being a bunch of individuals and not playing as a team, and we had a good week of practice, working as a team, and making sure we were focused on every little bitty detail. I thought the team traveled well. We continued being a team all the way through the game. There's more energy, excitement on the sideline. There's more encouragement on the sideline. All those things were good and very much needed. And we down the stretch we didn't make the plays. I thought offense was hot there in the first half. Second half, we didn't extend some drives. We didn't make some big plays. They did make some of those big plays. But bottom line is, we got to sustain some drives, and we got to stop the run. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems we have right now is we got to do a better job of stopping the run. And we had 53 plays. They had about 83 plays. It can't be that way, and some of that's because of their drives over 10 plays. So something that we're continuing addressing, and it's got to be better. We got to have more plays on offense, and we got to have less plays on defense. So,
okay. Questions?
With that, is it a scheme thing? Do you think? Is it a personnel thing on the line, or because?
I think we can change some things up. Maybe put some guys in some better situations. We're not getting a lot out of the front right there. We're not getting a lot of pressure on our opponent's quarterbacks. But then you're not going to get that opportunity if you're not stopping the run some. So we traveled 20 freshmen. We're going to continue playing a little bit more freshmen until we get some more production out of some areas. But no, we've got guys in the position to make some plays. We just got to maybe change some personnel up here and there some.
You talked about it last week, just getting the ball out quicker. It seemed like in the first half that was happening a lot. What did they do so well in the second half just to adjust to your offense and kind of shut them down a little bit?
Well, they really didn't change anything. When you look at the film, they did send a pressure from the boundary, and they had 2 tackle for losses right there that stopped a drive. We did not make a critical catch on the sideline. They were late in the fourth quarter. Ball's in our hands. You make that critical catch, the game's over. We're about to go up by 14 or 10. And then there was another critical error that we made where we kind of read the wrong person. Didn't have a turnover or anything, but we had a receiver wide open. So I think it was a little bit more of us not making some plays, and then they did a good job of keeping the ball, and they got a lot of momentum. When they had their long drive to go there and take the game tying touchdown, and then the next series on the field goal.
Defensive line, after looking at the defensive front, let's just say, after looking at the film, did you see adjustments? Did you see where there could have been more adjustments in regards to the run stop, in particular the second half?
Well, and to be honest, I think we were gassed. I mean, our defense on the field for 83 plays, and almost 40 of those were the run game right at us. I think we kind of got gassed. They wore us down right there late in the game, and we probably got to have a little bit more rotation. Not be scared to play some of these young guys. These young guys, we told them recruiting them. Yeah, you come here, you might have a chance to play early. Well, it's time, all right. And so we got to do a good job of keeping some fresh bodies in there. But a lot better job of getting off the field. Like, we got to get off the field. And that's what I mean by playing complementary football. I mean, offense got to continue sustaining drives, but I'd love to have the ball more. I'd love to have the ball more than 53 snaps,
Talk about some of those young guys. I know that Reed Boyd got the start, and then Demetrius Walker looked like he had a pretty good game.
Demetrius did. Demetrius had his best week of practice, so we need that young man to continue to grow. I mean, he's a dangerous edge rusher right there. Reed Boyd. Reed Boyd is he's going to be a good player for us. He really is. He's a young guy right now, but the guy's put on 20 pounds. He's physical. He just wants. He's one of those guys that you're glad he's on your team. He just wants to get in there and hit somebody every time. But he's going to be just fine. He got the start. and played pretty well, honestly, for his first start. Colby Ham's another young guy, he's only a sophomore, that did a great job, and what a great young man with great character. I mean, here's a guy that I think week before he had maybe 2 carries, just the way it worked out. Never complained, yes sir, no sir. Will play on every special team, every scout team you wanted to be on. And then he got his number called and did a great job with it there Saturday night. So there was some positives. There really was. Mekhi Parrish still, even though he's a young guy, you can see he's dangerous with the football in his hands. It's good to see John McCall make a couple big plays. At least it's something we can build off of, rather than the week before there wasn't a whole lot there.
Is this, looking at the scoring for McNeese and the scoring on the other side, is this really the tale of this first 4 games when McNeese has scored 24 points in the third and fourth combined and the opposition 78? He's really in capsule outside of the Florida game?
Well, I guess it's where we're at. The numbers are the numbers, right? But again, it kind of gets back to we're going through part of the process right now, and it is what it is. Like at every level, the team with the most experience usually has the upper hand. We've got 2 seniors that play a significant amount. The other 2 don't. So 4 seniors, and even up there talking to Wilkerson, I asked, hey, how many seniors you guys? We had about 15. What about you? We got 4. And his eyes are about as big as a silver dollar, right? But it's where we're at, right? It is, and we gotta fight through this. We gotta hit the reset button. Now we're in conference play, and still a lot of football left, and there's a lot of fight in us. And message to the team is, hey, you young bucks, it's time to grow up. You're not young anymore. You got 4 games under your belt. And we're not going to have any quit to us. Let's go out there and fight. We got to learn how to play football together, and it's not easy when you got such a young roster.
So you're not worried at this juncture about the psyche of this team?
Well, sure you are. I mean, yeah, I think you always are when you don't get off to a great start, right? That's why we coach our tails off every day, But no, I mean, we had a good conversation last week. About being a team. I spoke to each individual that traveled one by one Saturday night. Just told them how proud I am of them for the way they played, and the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but we did play team football, and we've got to make the big plays down the stretch. And if we'd have made 3 big plays, just three simple plays, we win the game. Maybe 1. If we just make 1 more play, we won the game. But I also think, if we're being honest, probably, even though we preached at halftime, it's got to be 0-0. We got to continue to go out there attacking. To be honest, I think if the guys were being honest with us, they'd probably tell you, yeah, they thought we won the game. They probably relaxed a little bit. We're going to talk about that today as well, and I'll hear from them if that's true or not. But I got a little bit of, I think that could have been the case. So we're attacking this one day at a time, 1 game at a time, and. We can't make the same mistakes twice. These guys got to learn. It's part of the process right here. But I'm extremely confident we're going to be just fine. We just got to keep plugging away. We don't have any other choice.
You had 2 chances. You had 2 stops to start the second half. So you had 2 chances to go back up 3 scores and couldn't get anything. Is that when it all shifted?
Well, I don't know if it's exactly those 2 times, but sure did help them, right? They brought a pressure from the boundary on 1, got a tackle for loss, put us behind the chains. And then the next time, we missed Mekhi across the middle on a pass that put us in a 3rd and long, right? So there was definitely 2 drives right there stalled out that, you'd like to at least came away with a field goal attempt, right? But then, right there, they started gaining momentum, really just by handing the ball off again and again and again. I mean, the Flowers kid, we couldn't tackle him, and I think when you can sustain drives and continue rushing the ball like that, you kind of take the life out of a team right there, and that's kind of exactly what happened. And then, of course, as our luck would have it, they hit a 57-yarder. I've never been in a game on either side and had a 57-yarder hit, and he drills it.
Are you concerned about, is it the tackling, or were guys in position, or were you getting blown off? Or
Yeah, and like I said, I think they wore us down, and at the end they were winning the line of scrimmage without a doubt.
I know it can be hard, especially when you were up the way you were in that game, and then to give up a lead after a game like that for the team. Just how this week are you expecting to reel in these guys and get them to focus on the conference play coming up?
Well, we still got our season ahead of us, right? And now we are in conference play, and there's some teams in our conference that are kind of going through the same thing we are right now, and everybody's fighting for the same thing. Look, we these young men work extremely hard year-round for these 11 opportunities, and it'd be a shame to get to this point and nobody cares, right? And we're not going to let that happen. We're going to continue learning how to play together, and we're going to continue attacking one day at a time to our best ability. I'm not going to let them have any quit to them.
What do you know about Nichols? What do you expect from them?
Nichols has had a tough schedule. They've played a nationally ranked FCS school and then 2 FBS opponents. They've already had a bye week, and they're looking for get their first win. So they're going to come in here. They're a tough team. They really are. They're a scrappy bunch on both sides of the ball. They fly around. They hustle. They gave TCU all they wanted, and I know that was kind of a game after TCU lost to Colorado, but still, TCU played for a national championship just a year ago, and Nichols went in there and struck them. They struck them and flew around the field. So, we got to know we're at home. We'll be excited. I don't know if we even know how to play at home anymore. It's been so long, but we're excited to be home. The guys are going to be excited to be home, and it's going to be a great conference game. But their quarterback is a new quarterback, and he's a scrappy player. He'll get out of the pocket and hurt you with his legs a little bit. Their running back is as a returner, and he's a physical kid. And then defense, their linebackers like to pin their ears back and come at you. So it'll be a good test for us. And there's no doubt about it. But if we continue to trend like we did from last week, I love it. I'm excited to watch them play.
You're going to have to stop the running back because they're going to give him the ball.
Why wouldn't you?
Do.
Yep.
Are you going to? I know you're not going to get it.
If you know I'm not answering, why are you asking?
Will we see more guys in the box?
You can see anything and everything. I know you're not going to answer.
That is going to be priority number one, obviously.
You have
Especially them, because that's what they do.
Well, for everybody, right? At this point, you're looking at the stats, and we do the same thing. We look for a team's weakness, and hey, we're going to see if they can stop that, and if not, we're going to exploit it, right? And if they did stop it, then what's our counterpunch right there? So sure, I'm sure they're looking at the stats right here and saying, hey, we're going to run the ball.
Pass rush, you did get a couple of sacks. They give up a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
They had. So are you pleased with that progression or?
Yeah, they didn't have to throw a whole lot, right? But yeah, I was happy to get some pressure on the quarterback, and we got to continue doing that for sure.
Scan the roster. Didn't see Cam Thomas or Marcus Peterson.
Yeah.
Have they left the program?
Cam is no longer in the program. That is correct.
Marcus Peterson?
He is still here.
He's not. Is he dressing out?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Can you expound on the reason Thomas is no longer in the program?
Nah, we should probably just leave it there.
Same with Johnson?
Yeah, he's no longer with the program. Yep.
Anybody else?
Colin Armstead is no longer with the program.
Essentially the same reasons?
Yeah. Yep, no doubt about it. We're going to be a team. It's going to happen.
That goes back to your discussion
Absolutely.
post last in regard to we're going to find the guys that want to be here.
Absolutely.
And call the ones that not.
Absolutely. Yep, got to be a team. That's for sure.
Back to the quarterback. Nate Glantz, you said you saw some. The numbers. The stats are still pedestrian, to say the least. But are you seeing glimmers?
Well, no, he played a good game. He had one play he would really like back, but it wasn't a turnover. But he managed the football game. He played with some rhythm. I thought he played a heck of a football game. Now, we're just not at the juncture yet there where we're going to be able to drop back and throw it 70 times a game. We're just not. We're still learning at the tackle position a little bit. Receivers played better last week, but we got to be continue progressing with those guys and continue making some plays. But we're going to put our offense in the best situation to win a football game. And if I need to run it 50 times, I'll run it 50 times. If we can throw it 70 times, we'll throw it 70 times. But, we just really have the lack of plays and the way we played at Alcorn with them taking the game from us and then offense pressing and playing horrible. With playing, I was told today Florida's got the #1 defense in the SEC. It's kind of been tough sledding a little bit to get such a young offensive group, off the ground a little bit. But I'm very pleased with Nate right now, and trust me, I love spreading it out. I'd go empty every play if I knew we could right now, and chunk it every down. But you got to kind of conform to what your team can do. And with us being young at tackle and breaking in some of the, we had three true freshman receivers play last week. So you got to be smart about it and just not throw caution to the wind. And I know some might be saying, well, at this point, why don't you? You still got to put your team in the best situation you possibly can.
With that in mind, you hear a lot of after losses, coaches, be it coaching cliche or whatever, say, look, I didn't do a good enough job, the staff didn't do a good enough job. What kind of job are you and the staff doing in regards to, as you like to say, having them prepared to play the game to win?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Both sides, especially the last 2 weeks, 100% knew the game plan front and back. It just gets back to making plays, executing plays, and we've got them in the right spot. There's no doubt about it. Have we been outmatched or outmanned in a couple instances? Sure, right? But we got to consistently make the plays and make the routine plays. You can't give up a sack at the end of a game. You can't drop a big ball down the sideline when it's in your hands. You can't miss a field goal. When you're in position to go up 10 points late in the game. It's not one person or one group. It's just, we got to go out there and make the big plays.
Talking about that receiver group, it does seem like a positive was John McCall getting going a little
Yes.
bit. Funny enough, it seemed like last year the Eastern Illinois game was the game that got him going at the end of last season. So what can you just say about him and then getting in the end zone a little bit and just getting some confidence? Yeah,
we want a lot more of it, that's for sure. John has matured a lot. I'm really proud of the young man, and I expect big things from him. And he expects big things. And, I think we'll continue seeing his level of play rise, and he's slowly kind of becoming a leader of that room per se. He expects, during crunch time to be he wants to make the play, the ball be thrown his way, and it's good to see some of these young guys with that same kind of attitude. But Jermichael Carter and Corey O'Brien, here's two true freshmen that, you're just happy if they made it to all their classes today, and they're out there playing college football and excited about it, but excitement and energy is contagious, right? So that's why it's fun to get some of these freshmen out there, especially when they're not nervous or scared. They might be nervous, but they're excited about getting their opportunity. But no, it was a good game for John. Was it perfect? No, but I expect John to be a big part of our offense.
Micah Davies, second in the country in tackles. Is that a good thing, or is he forced to make too many tackles?
No, it's a good thing. I'm hard on the young man. I expect so much from him, but he is a war daddy. He's a sophomore that's not always vocal. I want him to be our big defensive leader and be the vocal guy, and I think that'll come. That'll come with more maturity. But he's a great player, and he's got a good attitude. And he knows he's going to get everybody's best since he is one of the top tackles in the country. Everybody's gunning for him. But like I said, I'm hard on him. I want more and more because he's got so much more on him or in him. So,
are you seeing the playing of the younger players waking up any of the older guys?
In a couple incidences, I kind of, they're, and that's why one guy's not with us right now, but competition makes us all better, and we need it, right? And the good news for us is we got a lot of guys that are playing probably a little too early. Again, 20 freshmen traveling with you, But the good news is those guys aren't going to be young forever, you know. And as long as they keep the good attitudes and excited about playing and working hard, then the sky's the limit for us, right? But it's just getting to that point where we're growing these young guys, and then putting other pieces into the puzzle.
What do you think of HCU's win over Southeastern's?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. You know, it's pretty impressive. I hadn't had time to really dive into it. I've been, ever since we got on the plane there Saturday night, straight into Nichols. But I did see the score when we landed, and pretty impressive.
When you have situations like this, a start like this, that obviously you don't like, things, people start flipping through history books. And I'm sure you've seen that 1954, the program's never started this way, and I believe that team lost 5 straight. So that narrative is going to come up, back to the psyche of the team, back to your psyche, the psyche of the coaching staff.
Yep.
Again, the blinders and the blocking out that white noise of and not affecting, letting it affect this.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. Like, we got to be tough too, right? And trust me, hey, my wife might be the toughest. She's the one that's keeping me in check right now. I'm human too, but no. When you look at it, number one, I have, and I say this with no ego, but we did change a program before that had never won, and this is Tiffin 2.0. I mean, everything we're going through right now. I mean, my wife talked about, like, here we are again. It's like deja vu, and you just can't skip a process of building a program the right way. You just can't, and people might not want to hear that or might not believe that, but there's going to be some suffering, some growing pains, and you find out. You find out who is all in and who isn't. And for any of those who aren't all in, they're not going to help us get to where we want to go anyway, so I'm okay with that. But as to the history and the pressure, I tell you, I had a great conversation with my quarterback a week ago, and I think it helped him play a lot better. But, he was just feeling the pressure, and the comments. And he told me he was concerned about, me and all that. I said, hey, look, stop right there. Like, I chose this profession. You chose to play quarterback, right? And we both worked very hard to get to this point. And I know it's hard and difficult right now. But if we just stay true to ourselves, we know what we're doing is right, things will work out. But why would we let others' opinions, who we don't even know them, affect the way we go about doing our job day in, day out? And he kind of looked at me and said, that's a great point, Coach. He said, my dad kind of said the same thing. I said, yeah, us sons never listen to our dads, right? It's just natural, right? But I told him, don't worry about it, and go play hard and play the game that you love. Don't let somebody take that from you. And hey, I have to have a reality check myself. That's why we got married, right? But kind of the same thing. I mean, as upset and hurt as we are after a loss, it's natural to kind of want to, feel sorry for yourself. And how come this isn't going our way? We're working so hard. We're not getting a lot of rewards from it. But I think you got to go back to remembering why you got into this. And, I got into coaching for these young men and having a positive impact on their lives. And if we just stay focused on doing that one day at a time, everything will work itself out. And sometimes you got to go through tough times to be champions. And once we get to where we know where we're going to go, probably the bad articles or the bad opinions will be completely different. And everybody will be like, oh, we knew it was going to work out. We knew it was. And that's just human nature. I get it. I get it.
You mentioned Tiffin, but there are a lot more eyes here on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But when you care as much as the staff and me care, it doesn't change. You still hurt the same way. You still you want to make everybody happy. You want to please everybody. So when something doesn't work, you feel the same. So I get it. Yeah, there are a lot more eyes on us. I get that.
Drawing back to last week's comparison with Florida State, you're a believer in that the belief, if you will, that new regimes like this need a minimum of 3 years. It's been proven. It's in the books, even though some programs don't give you the 3 years. Are you a believer in that?
Well, I think it takes time. I mean, that's for others to decide, right? But it does take time. I mean, we're not. I had somebody ask me, well, Colorado's doing it. There's no comparison at all. I mean, you're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? But I think the portal, the landscape of college athletics has changed so much. I think the real question is how long does it take to build the culture and keeping these young men locked in and believing rather than taking the easy road and just quitting and going somewhere else, right? I think that is what's yet to be seen across college football. I mean, the portal is giving people a very easy way out and a way to quit when times are tough. So just part.
You said you don't like the portal in general, but do you have to kind of embrace it now?
You do. You do. I sure wish the portal was for those who earn their degree, and then they can do anything and everything they want to. Because
like it used to be.
Well, kind of, yeah. But I just our promise to these families and these young men is for them to get their degree, and that's not the most important thing anymore.
You talked about Tiffin too. Back when you were building that program, you didn't have to use the transfer portal
Right.
as much. What have you kind of changed within yourself just during this process of having to bring in so many different guys from so many different new areas as you go through this?
Yeah, I think it's very important still to have a balance in your recruiting class. I don't believe you can go all portal. I don't believe you can go all junior college. I think you've got to have a good balance of high school with a mixture of those other two things. I do think high schools are under-recruited, but then you run into, okay, well, here's a freshman we're added instead of an upperclassman, because right now our roster is just bottom heavy. And trying to level that out is the challenge, right? The portal's there. It's not going anywhere, that's for sure. I think it's used in the wrong way at times, more than not. But recruiting's recruiting. I mean, you could hit on a player, or you could miss on a player. It doesn't matter if they're high school or in the portal.